Have you ever noticed the strange, heavy silence that follows the word no? What if the guilt you feel in that silence is not proof that you did something wrong, but simply the echo of an old habit, a habit of putting everyone else's needs before your own? Most of your exhaustion is not caused by the work you do. It is caused by how tightly you hold onto the responsibility for other people's happiness. If you have ever felt stretched too thin, anxious about disappointing others, or entirely invisible in your own life, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may completely change the way you see this pain forever. Here is the truth few people want to face. The tighter you hold on to the need to be everything to everyone, the more you suffer. We are taught to be endlessly generous with our time, to be reliable, to be always available. But we are rarely taught how to protect our own spirit without feeling ashamed. Think about what happens when someone asks for your time, and you know, deep in your bones, that you must decline. You summon the courage to say no. But instead of relief, a crushing wave of guilt crashes over you. Your mind immediately goes to war with itself. You replay the conversation. You worry they will think you are selfish, uncaring, or lazy. You imagine their disappointment. Almost instantly, you feel an overwhelming urge to send a long, anxious message, over-explaining your schedule, hoping your exhaustion is a valid enough excuse to be forgiven. In Buddhist thought, much of our deep, quiet suffering comes from attachment. In this case, it is the attachment to how others perceive us. We cling to the identity of being the good person, the helpful person. But Buddhism reminds us that true compassion is boundless, and that means it must include yourself. When you constantly pour from an empty vessel, you are not offering genuine kindness, you are only offering your own depletion. The illusion is that saying yes keeps the peace, but a peace that requires you to abandon yourself is not peace at all. Imagine a small, sturdy boat resting on a vast, open river. Every time you say yes when your spirit is crying, out for rest, you take a heavy stone from the shore and place it in the bottom of your boat. You do this to make the shore look neat, to please the people standing on the riverbank. But slowly, inevitably, the boat sinks lower and lower into the water. The water begins to seep over the edges. The stones were never yours to carry. You were meant to navigate the river, to flow with the current of your own life, not to carry the heavy expectations of the shore. Think of the demands weighing on your life right now, the extra project at work you agreed to, the social gathering you do not have the energy for, the family member who demands the hours of your weekend you desperately need for rest. When you finally decline a request, that sudden rush of guilt is simply the feeling of refusing to pick up another stone. It feels entirely unnatural only because you have grown so used to sinking. Ask yourself, what are you truly afraid will happen if you simply let your honest no stand on its own? Are you genuinely afraid of losing their love, or are you just afraid of facing the temporary discomfort of setting a boundary? Is this anxious thought bringing you peace, or is it merely feeding your fear of being unloved? Pause, breathe. The next time this heavy guilt rises, observe the thought without following it. Let the feeling rise in your chest without making it your identity. You do not have to fix it. You do not have to apologize for existing. Just watch the guilt arrive, like a sudden gust of wind against the trees, and watch it pass. Because inner peace is not something you chase by making everyone else comfortable. It is something you make space for by being deeply honest with yourself. But letting go of that initial guilt is only the first step. Very quickly, the mind will try to trick you into softening the blow with a flood of words. And this is where the next truth begins. What if the harder you try to justify your boundaries, the further peace moves away? Here is a quiet truth that is difficult to accept. Your need to constantly explain yourself is not an act of kindness. It is a plea for permission. Think about the moments just after you tell someone you cannot help them, cannot attend an event, or simply need an evening alone. The word no feels too bare, too fragile to stand on its own. So, you dress it up. You build a wall of words around it. You type a long, breathless message detailing how busy your week has been. You list your chores, your headaches, your prior commitments. You apologize 3 times. You are terrified of the space left by a simple decline, so you fill it with excuses, hoping that if they see how truly exhausted you are, they will finally grant you the right to rest. Buddhism teaches us that much of our suffering comes from the illusion of control. We over-explain because we are desperately trying to manage another person's perception of us. We want to control their reaction. We want to make sure they still see us as good, loyal, and loving. But this is a heavy, impossible burden. We cannot control the weather of someone else's mind. When we attach our inner peace to how someone else receives our truth, we trap ourselves in an endless cycle of anxiety. Imagine a still, quiet lake reflecting the sky. You speak your truth, which is like dropping a small stone into the water. Naturally, ripples begin to form and move outward. The stone is your no, the ripples are their reaction. What do you do when you over-explain? You plunge your hands into the water and frantically splash around, trying to catch the ripples, trying to force the surface to be smooth again. But your frantic splashing only creates more chaos, more turbulence, and muddy water. The water will naturally settle on its own, but only if you step back and leave it alone. We do this every day in our busy lives. You decline an invitation to a family gathering or a late-night work request because your spirit is utterly exhausted. But instead of letting the truth sit in quiet dignity, you invent a schedule conflict. You send multiple messages defending your absence. You spend the very evening you claimed for rest, agonizing over whether they believed you. The peace you fought for is entirely ruined by the noise in your own head. Think about your own life. When was the last time you over-explained a simple boundary? Ask yourself, were you speaking to share a simple truth, or were you speaking out of fear? What are you afraid will happen if you do not offer a mountain of evidence to prove you deserve a moment to breathe? Stop trying to force the water to be still. The next time you must decline a request, give your answer softly, firmly, and plainly. Pause. Let the silence hang there. Do your part, then release the outcome. Let the other person have their reaction without trying to manage it for them. Because peace is not found in convincing others that you deserve it. It is found in accepting that you never needed their permission at all. But stripping away the armor of over-explanation often reveals a deeper, older pain. It shows us how often we have left our own side just to keep others close. And this is where the next truth begins. 3. The heavy cost of abandoning yourself. What if the deepest ache inside of you is not the guilt of saying no, but the quiet realization of how often you have said yes when your spirit was begging for rest? Here is a truth that requires profound honesty. Every time you silence your own exhaustion to accommodate someone else, you are abandoning yourself. We worry so much about abandoning our friends, our family, or our colleagues. We are terrified of letting them down, but we rarely consider the slow, steady betrayal of our own inner life. You swallow your sigh, force a smile, and push through the fatigue. You tell yourself it is just this once, or that they need you more than you need to sleep. But it is never just once. It becomes a lifetime of small, silent compromises. The cost of this is not just a loss of time, it is a creeping, heavy resentment and a profound sense of disconnection from who you truly are. In Buddhist thought, true mindfulness begins with being wholly present with yourself. If we constantly run from our own inner reality, To manage the emotions of the external world, we are living in a state of delusion. A core teaching of Buddhism reminds us that you, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your own love and affection. When you abandon your own needs to secure the approval of another, you sever the root of your own peace. You create deep suffering because you are living out of alignment with your own truth. Imagine a beautiful, quiet house that is meant to be your sanctuary. Instead of resting inside, you spend all your time running frantically through the neighborhood. You fix your neighbors' roofs, you sweep their porches, and you water their gardens. You are widely praised as a wonderful, selfless neighbor. But when the day is done, you return to a home that is dark, cold, and slowly falling apart. The hearth is empty, the windows are cracked. You have built a beautiful village for everyone else, but you have left yourself with nowhere to rest. Think of the times you have sat in your car for an extra 10 minutes before walking into your house, just staring at the steering wheel. Or the times you have hidden in a quiet room just to have a single moment of silence away from the demands of your day. These are not signs that you are a bad person. They are the desperate cries of an abandoned house, begging you to come back and tend to its walls. You often feel resentful not because others are demanding too much, but because you are allowing them to take what you desperately need to keep for your own survival. Think about your own life. Ask yourself, how many times this week did you abandon your own quiet truth just to avoid causing a ripple in someone else's reality? What are you running from when you refuse to sit quietly in your own home? Stop, breathe, come back to yourself. The next time you feel the heavy pressure to agree to something you do not want to do, place a hand over your own chest. Feel the weight of your own existence. Let that sink in, because you cannot offer true light to the world if your own candle has burned down to nothing. Reclaiming your energy is a profound act of self-respect. But to do this without the heavy burden of guilt, you must first learn how to master the silence between their request and your answer. And this is where the next truth begins. 4. Finding the sacred pause before answering. What if the most powerful response you can offer is not a yes, and not even a no, but a single moment of total silence? Here is a truth that is easy to forget in our fast-paced lives. You do not owe the world your immediate reaction. Think about how it usually happens. Your phone lights up with a message. A colleague stops by your desk. A family member calls with a sudden, heavy request. Before you have even processed what they are asking, a feeling of panic tightens your chest. The pressure to respond immediately feels overwhelming. In that frantic rush, your instinct takes over. You either blurt out a yes that you will silently resent for days, or you stumble through a panicked, over-explained no. You feel as though, if you do not answer right away, the silence itself will offend them. The urgency is a trap. In Buddhist thought, deep wisdom is not about knowing exactly what to say at all times. It is found in the quiet space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. Mindfulness teaches us to observe the urge to react without immediately giving into it. There is a sacred pause available to you. It is the breath between the question and the answer. When you rush to reply, you are letting their external urgency dictate your internal state. You are abandoning your own center just to manage their impatience. Imagine you are sitting in a quiet, dimly lit room. Suddenly, there is a loud, urgent knock at the door. Your immediate instinct might be to leap up, rush to the door, and throw it wide open, letting in the cold wind and whatever noise stands outside. But you do not have to open the door the second someone knocks. You are allowed to sit in your chair. You are allowed to listen to the sound. Take a deep breath and quietly decide if you are ready to turn the lock at all. The knock is just a request. It is not a command. In our modern lives, every notification and every sudden question feels like a loud knock. You are asked to cover an extra shift, to host a gathering, or to listen to someone complain for the third time this week. The modern world demands instant access to your energy, but you do not have to throw the door open. You do not have to let their chaos become your emergency. Ask yourself, why do you feel you owe everyone an instant answer? What are you afraid will happen if you simply let them wait for 10 minutes or an hour or a day? Is it truly their urgency that demands an answer, or is it your own fear trying to escape the tension of waiting? Pause, breathe. The next time a request comes your way, do not let your anxiety do the talking. Give yourself the grace of a delay. You can simply say, I need some time to think about this. Let the feeling of pressure rise and let it fall. You are not powerless, because peace is not found in rushing to keep everyone else comfortable. It is found in claiming the space to hear your own truth. But even when you master the pause and finally speak your honest decline, the old familiar ghost of guilt may still come to visit. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. Treating guilt as a passing cloud. What if feeling guilty does not actually mean you did something wrong? Here is a truth that can shift your entire perspective. Guilt is not always a reliable compass pointing toward a moral failing. Most of the time, it is simply an echo. Think about the moments right after you have bravely set a boundary. You did not over-explain. You took your sacred pause. You gave a quiet, honest decline. But as soon as the conversation ends, a dark, heavy feeling settles right in the center of your chest. Your mind immediately begins to whisper that you are selfish. You start to believe that because you feel bad, you must have made a terrible mistake. You sit in your newly claimed free time, but you cannot enjoy it because the guilt is quietly screaming at you, demanding you fix the situation. In Buddhist thought, we are taught the profound reality of impermanence. Everything comes and everything goes. This applies to our internal emotions just as much as it applies to the changing seasons. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is learning to observe your thoughts without becoming them. When guilt arises, our human instinct is to grab onto it, to analyze it, to fight it, or to let it dictate our actions. We mistakenly believe we must solve the feeling. But Buddhism reminds us that an emotion is just a visitor. You do not have to invite it to stay, and you certainly do not have to believe the story it tells you. Imagine the vast open sky. The sky is boundless, clear, and perfectly quiet. Throughout the day, clouds drift across it. Some are small, light, and beautiful. Others are thick, dark, and heavy with rain. When a dark storm cloud rolls in and blocks the sun, the sky does not panic. The sky does not say, I am bad, I have become the storm. The light will never return. The sky simply holds space for the cloud, knowing the wind will eventually carry it away. You are the sky. Your guilt is just a dark cloud passing through. In our daily lives, we constantly forget this. You decline an invitation to help a friend with a massive favor because your own body is aching and exhausted. When the weekend arrives, you are resting in your home just as you planned. But the heavy cloud of guilt rolls in. Instead of letting it pass, you attach a story to it. You tell yourself you are a terrible friend. You ruin your own afternoon, turning your much-needed rest into a painful mental punishment. You have let the passing cloud convince you that you are the storm. Think about your own life. When the guilt of saying no arrives, what story do you immediately attach to it? Ask yourself, is this feeling actually a sign that I have done harm, or is it just the fading echo of a lifelong habit of pleasing others? What would happen if you simply let it be there without trying to make it disappear? Pause, breathe, let the feeling rise. The next time guilt visits you after setting a quiet boundary, simply acknowledge it. Observe the thought without following it. Say to yourself, I am feeling guilt right now, and that is okay. Let it drift across the open space of your mind until it slowly fades. Because true peace is not the absence of difficult emotions. It is the quiet wisdom to know you do not have to obey them. But letting the guilt pass is much easier when you know exactly what you are standing on. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The power of quiet, grounded honesty. What if the most unbreakable boundary is not built with anger, defense, or endless excuses, but with a simple, quiet truth? Here is a truth that can change the way you communicate forever. Your honesty does not need a defense attorney. Think about the times you have tried to say no while feeling intensely guilty. Your voice shakes, you talk too fast. You type a message and delete it 5 times. You offer compromises you do not actually want to make, hoping to soften the blow. You swing between sounding overly defensive and sounding desperately apologetic. You do this because you do not trust your own simple truth to be enough. You feel that unless your reason is tragic or overwhelming, it is not valid. You are not standing in your truth. You are apologizing for it. In Buddhist thought, there is a deep reverence for right speech. This does not just mean avoiding lies. It means speaking with clarity, integrity, and a deep grounded presence that causes no unnecessary harm to others or to yourself. Buddhism reminds us that truth is entirely self-sufficient. When you are deeply grounded in your own reality, your words do not need to be loud to be powerful. They do not need to be long to be understood. A quiet truth carries its own weight. Imagine an ancient, towering tree standing alone in a wide, open field. When a harsh wind blows, the tree does not frantically bend down to the grass and apologize for taking up space. It does not explain to the storm why it must stay exactly where it is. The tree simply roots deeper into the earth. It stands in its quiet, grounded truth. The wind blows, the storm rages, but the core of the tree remains completely unbothered, perfectly still. The tree does not need to justify its existence to the wind. In our modern lives, we often act like leaves blowing frantically in the wind, rather than the rooted tree. Think of declining a social invitation or turning down a demanding request from a colleague. Instead of standing firmly, you send a chaotic message. I am so sorry. I absolutely cannot come. I have so much laundry and work has been incredibly stressful. Please do not be mad at me. You give away all your power. But what if you became the tree? What if you simply said, I am unable to make it this time. I need an evening to rest, but I hope you all have a wonderful time. It feels terrifying at first. It feels entirely too short. But it is honest. It is grounded. It leaves no room for debate, and it requires no frantic defense. Think about your own life. Ask yourself, are you exhausting yourself trying to make your truth sound acceptable to someone else's ears? What if your honest limitation is already perfectly acceptable, just as it is? What if you stopped apologizing for simply being human and needing rest? Pause. Breathe. Feel your feet flat against the floor. The next time you must decline a request, speak from your roots, not your anxieties. Give your answer quietly, kindly, and firmly. Let the simple truth stand on its own. Because a boundary spoken with quiet honesty is the deepest form of self-respect. You do not need to build a fortress of words to protect yourself. But once you stand firmly in your truth, you must learn what to do when others do not like it. And this is where the next truth begins. 7. Releasing the burden of their reaction. What if the hardest part of saying no is not the word itself, but the terrifying weight of what happens in the mind of the other person? Here is the truth few people want to face. You cannot manage their disappointment without losing your own peace. Think about what happens after you finally speak your quiet truth. You do not over-explain. You set the boundary. But then, you watch their face fall, or you see the silence stretch endlessly in a text message thread. Immediately, a heavy anxiety settles in your stomach. You feel completely responsible for their frustration. Your mind races, trying to think of a way to reach back out, to offer a compromise, just to erase the frown from their face. You carry their reaction as if it is a failure on your part, as if their disappointment is proof that you did something wrong. In Buddhist thought, a profound source of deep, quiet suffering is our desire to control what is fundamentally outside of our control. Buddhism reminds us of the practice of non-attachment. This does not mean we do not care about others. It means we care deeply, but we detach from the outcome. We understand that every individual is on their own journey, carrying their own expectations, their own stress, and their own pain. We cannot walk their path for them. When you attach your inner peace to how someone else receives your truth, you become a prisoner to their emotional state. Their reaction belongs entirely to them, not to you. Imagine a boat moving gracefully through a calm body of water. As the boat moves forward, it naturally creates a wake, small waves that ripple out behind it and wash up against the shore. You cannot steer a boat forward without creating a wake. Now, imagine someone standing on the edge of the shore who gets splashed by the water. They might be annoyed, they might yell at the boat. But the boat cannot stop in the middle of the river and try to frantically smooth out the waves. The wake is simply the natural result of moving forward. We forget this in our relationships. You tell a family member you cannot host a gathering, or you tell a friend you cannot lend your energy to their ongoing crisis tonight. They may act coldly toward you. They may sigh heavily, complain, or pull away. But their frustration is simply the wake of your boundary. It is the sound of them adjusting to a world where they can no longer endlessly rely on your exhaustion. It is their work to process their disappointment. It is not your job to stop your boat to fix the water. Think about your own life. Ask yourself, how much of your daily anxiety comes from trying to predict and manage how other people will feel? What are you afraid will happen if you let them be upset, just for a little while, without rushing to rescue them? What if their disappointment is simply a necessary step in them learning to respect your space? Pause. Breathe. Let the tension in your shoulders drop. The next time someone reacts poorly to your honest decline, silently say to yourself, "This is their reaction, and I leave it with them." Do your part, then release the outcome. Stop trying to force the water to be still. Let them feel whatever they need to feel. Because true compassion does not mean shielding everyone from disappointment. It means respecting them enough to let them handle their own emotions. But walking away from their reaction requires you to view your own energy in an entirely new way. And this is where the next truth begins. 8. Protecting your time as an act of compassion. What if saying no to someone else is actually the highest form of kindness you can offer? Here is a truth that goes against everything we have been taught to believe about love and generosity. Depleting yourself serves absolutely no one. Think about the way we measure goodness in our daily lives. We often equate our worth with our willingness to sacrifice. We believe that if we give every last drop of our time, our energy, and our attention, we are being deeply compassionate. You say yes to the extra task at work. You listen to a friend complain for hours when your own mind is exhausted. You give away your only quiet weekend. But when you do this out of deep obligation and heavy guilt rather than genuine joy, what are you truly giving? Your presence becomes hollow. You are physically there, but energetically absent, carrying a quiet, hidden resentment that poisons the very connection you were trying to save. In Buddhist thought, true compassion is not a reckless giving away of oneself until nothing remains. True compassion is always rooted in wisdom. Buddhism reminds us that we are all deeply interconnected. If you harm yourself through severe exhaustion, you are harming a living, breathing piece of the universe. You cannot pour pure, life-giving water from a dry and dusty well. When you protect your peace, you are not being selfish. You are simply preserving the very energy that allows you to love the world properly. Imagine a beautiful, fragile lantern hanging on a dark path, meant to guide travelers safely through the night. The lantern only works because it holds a finite, precious amount of oil. If the lantern keeper constantly pours out all the oil to every single passerby who demands a drop, the flame will quickly die. The lantern goes dark, it can no longer guide anyone, and the keeper is left in total darkness. To keep the light alive, the keeper must protect the oil. Saying no is simply protecting the oil, so the light can continue to burn brightly when it is truly needed. In your modern life, your time, your silence, and your rest are the oil in your lantern. When you gently decline an invitation to a busy social event, or tell a loved one you cannot carry the weight of their crisis today, you are not punishing them. You are not withholding your light out of cruelty. You are ensuring that when you finally do show up for your family, for your work, and for your own spirit, you are burning brightly. You are offering them your true, rested, and joyful self, rather than offering them a bitter, exhausted shadow. Think about your own life. When was the last time you said yes purely out of guilt, only to sit through the entire experience wishing you were somewhere else? Ask yourself, what kind of energy are you actually bringing into the room when you force yourself to be there? Are you offering them the warmth of your light, or are you just offering your quiet resentment? Pause, breathe. Let this understanding wash over you. The next time you feel guilty for choosing rest over a request, remind yourself that rest is a profound responsibility. You are tending to the lantern. Protect your inner peace so that you can offer your true presence. Because true generosity is only possible when you are whole, and a boundary is simply an act of love directed inward. But understanding this in your mind is very different from walking out into the world and living it every single day. And this is where the final truth begins. 9. Walking in the peace of your own truth. Remember that strange, heavy silence we spoke of at the beginning, the uncomfortable, agonizing pause right after you say the word no. What if you no longer had to fill that silence with panic, endless excuses, or desperate apologies? What if, instead, you could step into that space, close your eyes, and let it become your quiet sanctuary? We spend so much of our lives running from the fear of disappointing others. We have been taught that love is a transaction, paid for with our endless availability. So, we pile heavy stones into our small boats. We abandon our own inner homes to sweep the porches of the entire village. We let our lanterns burn down to nothing, terrified of what will happen if the light goes out. But the deep spiritual exhaustion you feel right now is not a permanent state. It is not a failure. It is merely a gentle, persistent sign that you have forgotten who you belong to. You belong to yourself first. In Buddhist thought, the journey to true inner peace is never about building a flawless life where everyone is perpetually pleased with you. It is about letting go of the heavy, painful delusion that you can manage the emotions of the world. It is about practicing profound non-attachment. This means releasing not just your grip on the future, but your grip on the endless demands, the fleeting opinions, and the passing reactions of others. When you stop chasing the illusion of being the perfect, ever-giving person, you finally have the energy to simply be present. You step out of the frantic wind and become the deep, unmoving roots of the tree. You step out from beneath the passing storm and realize you were always the quiet, endless sky. Think of the profound relief waiting for you on the other side of your guilt. Imagine a day where you speak your quiet, grounded truth. You do not over-explain. You do not scramble to catch the ripples in the water. You simply state your need for rest and let the river of life flow exactly as it meant to. There is a strange, beautiful, breathtaking freedom in realizing that the world will not collapse just because you decided to finally choose yourself. The people who truly value the light of your lantern will completely understand when you need to step away to protect the oil. And those who become angry that you are no longer burning yourself down to keep them comfortable, they are simply learning, perhaps for the first time, to walk in their own dark. It is a journey they must take. You do not need to carry them anymore. Think about your own life from this day forward. Ask yourself, what will you choose to carry into tomorrow? Will you continue to apologize for your own existence, shrinking your needs to make everyone else comfortable? Or will you begin to walk firmly, quietly, and proudly in the peace of your own truth? Pause, breathe, let the heavy burden of the world fall from your tired shoulders. Let that sink in. You have carried it long enough. The next time someone asks for a piece of your time, remember the sacred pause. Remember that guilt is just a passing cloud. Remember that your quiet honesty is the deepest form of self-respect. You do not have to be everything to everyone. You only have to be honest with yourself. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.